Check out this furniture set that I found for free on the side of the road. No, it's not in great condition. It's actually in awful condition and it stinks. It smells so bad. But I can definitely fix this up and then sell it. The first thing I'm going to do is strip this top off. The top is just full of scratches. It's just not good. And for this, I'm using Clean Strip. I don't like Clean Strip at all. I should have my mask on here. I don't know why I don't have my mask on. I do put it on. I think I just kind of forgot at the beginning. But yeah, I don't like this stuff. I feel like it dries way too quick. And, you know, when I use Citrus Strip, I use plastic wrap. I put it over there for like 45 minutes so that it doesn't dry so quick, and it doesn't work with this. It was like a 95-degree day out when I was doing this, and I put the plastic on and it melted because the stripper is like it warms up so much. But then it dries and it's so hard to get off. So I did figure out, you know, I've used this stripper for a couple years. Like I use it once a year, I swear, and then I'm like, never again. I'm not doing this again. So I did figure out by the time I got to the drawers that if you just add a little bit more, once it's done, it's like 15-20 minutes, and if it dries out, which it did on every single drawer, then I just add a little bit more of the stripper right before I'm about to scrape it off, and that kind of brings it back to life for me. So that worked out. But still, yeah, I won't use this again until probably next year when I have forgotten how much I don't like it. So once I have that top layer off and I have it cleaned up and all the strippers removed, I can sand it. And I'm using my 120 grit sanding paper. And I just have to go over this one time, and that's enough because that stripper took off a couple layers. So that worked out really well. A lot of people ask, how do you know when you should use a stripper versus just go in and sand it? And it's just personal preference. You could sand it the entire time and not strip it, but it's just going to take you a lot longer. You're going to have to go through at least 3 different grits, or, you know, maybe 2. You could do 80, 120, but most of the time you'll do like an 80, 120, and then a little bit higher to make sure you don't have any swirls. So it's just personal preference. I think it saves a lot of time for me and using the stripper, and that's why I do that first. And also it's a lifesaver if you have really thin veneer. You know, you're not going to blow through that veneer doing a bunch of sanding grits. If you only do one high sanding grit, like a 120 or a 150 after you've stripped, then you're most likely not going to blow through the veneer. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that both of these pieces have an odor. It is so strong, this odor. Like, I just put my face by there and I felt bad for myself watching this as I edit because it's so gross. And I don't know if it's perfume or cigarettes or both, but it's something, and it's very strong. And I have these, I'm going to use the same hardware. That little strip across the top is mother of pearl, I believe. But I have to clean those up, and we'll talk about that again later. So I have to remove these inserts because they smell. It just, you know, anything I can remove, I'm going to remove. And then I am going to have to cover every last inch of this with a blocking primer because of the odor. So back to the stripper. Here I'm about to remove the paint stripper, but I have to add more paint stripper on it before I can remove it because it dried up. I don't know. I know everybody has their personal preferences. I don't know. Me and this paint stripper don't click at all ever. So now everything is stripped, sanded, and cleaned. I can go in with my primer. I'm using Dixie Belle's Boss. I have like 2 containers of the old formula, which was just the blocking primer. Now they have Bonding Boss, which is a blocking primer and an adhesive primer all in one. But I love this product. I love both of them. So whichever one that you were going to use, they both work great for the blocking. I use it in clear. It goes on with a little tint of white so you can see where you're putting it, and then it dries clear. Now, I could have used shellac on this, but there's a couple of reasons that I don't. I've used shellac on a few pieces, so I know what happens afterwards. And there's a sheen that comes with shellac. Okay, so you can see it, and if you're spraying it and you miss any spots, it does not look nice. And I don't want to miss any spots. So if I'm spraying it and I need to do this entire thing, I'm going to need so many bottles, and I don't want to waste the money on that. So using Dixie Belle's Boss, I can do all the drawers, the shells. I can get that with one full large container. And it doesn't have that sheen. It goes on matte, but you can't even tell that anything's on there. It just looks like the original drawer. So I like that about it. And when I put it on, it has an odor, but within a couple hours, the odor disappears. Now, when you put shellac, and you need to put a large amount of shellac on when you're covering for odors, sometimes in the drawers, the shellac odor will stay. I have a dresser that I absolutely love, and the insides of the drawers will forever smell like shellac. It's been years, and it's still, every time you open it, it stinks like shellac. So I don't know what that's about. But after a couple of those happening, I don't want to sell a piece of furniture and have it have any odor. That kind of defeats the purpose. So for me, I found that Dixie Belle's Bonding Boss or the Boss works the best. I only need one coat, and this is a pretty stinky thing. You could use 2 coats if you wanted to really cover your behind, but I think you're good with 1 coat. So I know it's like a specialty item, but for something really, really stinky, it's worth it because you can't even tell it that it's there. So I'm going to do I'm going to do the drawers, the front, the back, the inside, the sides. Every single part of this needs to be covered. It needs to be sealed, or I'm going to have that smell. So I'm going to do the shell with the Boss and the drawers, and then the inside of the cubbies. That'll be way too difficult for me to paint every inch of those with the Boss and a paintbrush. So I did order the spray shellac, and I'm going to spray the insides of those. And that's usually what I do for a stinky piece. The outside and the drawers get the Boss, and then the insides get the shellac where I can't really reach. So for me, it's just kind of like, I don't want to waste a ton of product. I don't want to spend a lot of money on the product. So it works out better this way. That's why I do it this way. I'm painting the body with Dixie Belle Chalk Mineral Paint in the color Caviar. It is just a true black color. And I chose to not refinish the body because I don't even know what like the sides are made of. I don't think that's real wood. It's super thin, like hollow. I'm not a wood expert here. I don't claim to be. But I'm not going to try to refinish that. No, thank you. I think that sometimes, I think the stain with the black looks so good. And honestly, I don't do a lot of like neutral projects or refinishing because I would probably paint everything black with stain or black with natural wood because I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And of course, this is not my normal style. I love the colorful stuff, the transfers, the gilding waxes, and, all the fun stuff. So when I do a project like this, it's usually going to be black with natural. It's like my go-to because it looks great. It sells. You can't go wrong with it. And even the lip around the top, I painted in black instead of trying to get the natural wood. I would have blown through some of the veneer, and I don't even think the lip is definitely not the same veneer as the top, so it would have looked funny anyway. Now I'm gonna keep this top and the drawer fronts natural, and I'm using Odie's oil to bring out the natural wood. I've used Odie's oil for a couple of years, and I do have a piece that I did in my niece's room that has been sealed with Odie's oil, and it's been about 2 years now that I did that, and it's held up so great. I've never had to reapply it. It still has that vibrant color, so I really trust this stuff. A couple other pieces that I've done, same, but I've sold them, so I don't really know what happened to those. But that one I can say, it even had a TV on it at one point, and when we moved the TV, it still looked fabulous. So I do like this product a lot. A little goes a long way, so you don't really have to put a lot on the piece, and you just buff it out really well afterwards. I do leave it on for like 20 minutes, and then I buff. And that's without and then with. And one last thing to know about Odie's oil is it's a great sealer. So your furniture will be sealed, but you can also wait until it cures. And if you feel like you need to add a polyurethane or a water-based polyurethane on top of it, you actually can. So you want to buff it out, buff until you touch it with a finger, and if you kind of see a little bit of a reflection from your finger, then you haven't buffed it out enough. You want to get most of that off. That's why they say don't use a lot. But unfortunately, I do have to use a lot because applying it is a workout for my hand. I don't know if it's carpal tunnel or arthritis or what the heck it is, but yeah, my hand it'll just kind of like freeze up, and it hurts. So I do end up doing a lot of buffing afterwards because I do apply a little bit more than I probably should. But now I'm on my second coat. I'm working between doing the drawers and painting, and I'm just kind of trying to finish this thing up. Whenever I apply Dixie Belle Chalk Mineral Paint, I'm always using my water mister because it helps me to get a really smooth brushstroke free finish. It almost looks like I've sprayed it on with a paint sprayer, but I didn't. I just used water to kind of water it down, and it's so highly pigmented that I'm not watering down the pigment. I love this paint. You guys know, if you watch me, you know I love this paint. It's just a great product. And now for this hardware, I'm just cleaning it up with some Dawn dish soap and a little sponge. The mother of pearl came up, it cleaned up really easily. The rest of it, not so much, but I'm going to just spray paint it. And then the one thing that I do use my paint sprayer for every single time is to add my clear coat. So this is Dixie Belle's clear coat in satin. And it just, when you put it in the sprayer, it's so easy. It gives you such a beautiful professional finish that I almost use it every single time. No streaks. I mean, it takes literally under 30 seconds to spray the entire piece. So you can't beat it. And that's the Home Right Super Finish Max. And now for the hardware, I just added a little bit of green tape over the mother of pearl, and I sprayed it in copper. I didn't like that at all. So then I ended up spraying it with, it's a flat chestnut, and that's better. And I decided that if it doesn't sell with that old hardware, then I'll just, within like 2 weeks, be sitting in my booth. I'm going to switch it out with something more updated. So here it is, all finished. I love the natural wood and the black combo. I just think that it's timeless and you can't go wrong with it. And as always, if you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you next time.